Here's the biggest thing that people don't realize. When you actually love someone unconditionally, it frees you. God's love is unconditional, and that means our love needs to be unconditional as well. And it doesn't mean that you're always going to have warm, fuzzy feelings of love towards the person, but you definitely have the ability to control your actions and your words towards others. If love was just an emotion, and if you needed to feel feelings of love to act, a certain way, well, then your love would never be unconditional, because none of us feel feelings of love all the time towards others. The people that are closest to us, sometimes, they might say something or do something to hurt us or offend us or rub us the wrong way. And, in that moment, you're not feeling feelings of love towards them. Sure, you still love them deep down, but in the moment, you're not feeling love towards them. And the problem is most of us act in accordance with how we feel. Our natural reaction is to change how we are towards them in that moment or even afterwards because of the way we're feeling. But I believe God calls us to love regardless of how we feel. And it wasn't until later on when God started actually teaching me through experience. He took me through a very difficult season of my life. And he told me, he said, I'm going to teach you what true love really is. I just felt that in my spirit, that God's going to teach me what true love really is through this hard season. And he did. Here's the big paradox. Here's the biggest thing that people don't realize. When you actually love someone unconditionally, it frees you. People don't realize that when you're loving someone transactionally, when you're only nice and kind and loving towards them when they're treating you the same, you're actually a slave to them. Because if they treat you badly, you're going to be upset, hurt, grumpy, cold, whatever, and it's going to ruin your day. It's going to affect you. And if they're meeting your expectations, then you're going to be happy and you're going to be content and whatever. So technically, you're giving power over your own happiness, your own well-being, your own peace to the other person by not loving them unconditionally. But when you love someone unconditionally and you decide in your heart, like, I'm going to be kind to you, I'm going to be respectful towards you, I'm going to treat you with love regardless of how you are, then you are now free, because you don't have to change now. You can stay a constant. You can be at peace. You're going to walk in the life that God has planned for you. Like we read over again in the scriptures, how like he's come to bring us peace, and how we can walk in the joy and the peace of the Lord, even in the midst of trials. So yeah, like loving others unconditionally, it's not just for them. It's not just because that's how God wants us to be, to love others and for others. It is for others, definitely. Because if everyone loved everyone unconditionally, like, the world would be such a better place. But it's not just for others, it's for you as well. I realized, like, when I learned how to love unconditionally, I felt so much more confident and so much more powerful. I felt so much less insecure. It just really freed me. But then also boundaries as well. Because sometimes people can fall too far on one end of the spectrum or the other. They can be too much on the soft side, like be always loving, forgiving, but then they never have any personal boundaries. And people, walk all over them and abuse them, and they enable it because they're so kind, forgiving, loving, and whatever. And then you can be too far on the other end of the spectrum where you've got no problem standing up for yourself and putting boundaries and whatever, but then you're also quick to judge, quick to criticize. You don't have a lot of, kindness and patience for people. And like, you need the healthy elements of both. You need to always have love and grace towards people, but you also need to be able to recognize when you need to put healthy boundaries in place if people are abusing that. So yeah, anyway, I'll leave it at that for this video. If you've got any questions, comments, feel free to post them below. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on the next one.